Hey there! Well, you might notice something a little bit different. This video is called The Breakdown. What the heck is that? Well, due to a couple of things, I'm changing the name of the first impression series that I do, that normally goes by the name of Librascope, to The Breakdown. Now, the reason for that being, a lot of people don't know what Libra is or what a Librascope is a reference to, and it was meant to be just a silly little working title, but I never really got around to thinking of something better. And so, from now on, the videos that are first impressions are going to be titled The Breakdown. It's a bit of a love of metal reference there. But yeah, so I'm just changing the name to something a little easier to pronounce, a little more simple, that still conveys the whole, well, that really more so conveys the whole, it's a first impressions, this is what the game is like, I'm showing you gameplay and talking over it, etc. So yeah, The Breakdown, that's what this is now called. Now what you'll also notice is some beautiful little numbers there up in the top right corner. This is something I don't normally do. I always see those, but when I record, I usually make the recording software, which I use DxTory, not display those, so only I see them, because it'd be weird having those up there constantly when watching a video. But the performance of this game right now is a really big topic, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it for the first couple minutes here, so if you want to skip past this and just get to the gameplay, you can do that, that's fine. I'll put an annotation right up here. Yeah, right in this corner. So you can click that and just skip the whole performance talk if you want to. It's only a few minutes, and I really recommend that you listen, but, you know. So I'm keeping that up there because since the performance is such a hot debate right now, a hot topic on this game, instead of having to constantly reference it and stuff like that and tell you what I'm seeing on the FPS counter, I'm just having it display it. So the video number right here, that's what the game is currently running at. Now keep in mind, this recording software takes a little bit of power, so it's about a 2 or 3 FPS drop. So if, say, I'm in an area getting 42 frames per second, likely if I wasn't recording, I'd be getting about 45. And also, to let people know, my rig is pretty powerful. It's a GTX 780 Ti video card and a 4820K processor with Intel. It is an i7 quad-core that runs at 3.7 gigahertz and 16 gigs of RAM. So it's a powerful system. 22.2 megahertz G-Skill Ripjaw's RAM. So yeah, it's a powerful system. I don't rely on SLI, but one thing to say is right now, if you do rely on SLI for proper performance, don't play this yet. This game does not have proper SLI support, profiles have not been made, NVIDIA is working on it, and hopefully will be releasing official drivers soon that have proper SLI profiles integrated into them for this game. Now the performance is a mixed bag. Normally, the game, first of all, is locked to 30 frames per second. Now there's a really easy tweak to unlock that, and it can go, I believe, even above 60. It's just defaulting to that right now because I'm using VSync because my monitor has bad screen tearing issues, but that's on my end. It happens with a lot of games because of the monitor I'm using is actually a television. So yeah, that's my problem, but normally it defaults to 30. You can switch it to uncap that by making a user.ini file in the game's install directory and pasting a single line of code in there. It's very simple, and that's all you gotta do, and it will run above 30. But how well? I would like to say that, first of all, I think the port of this game, which is originally an Xbox One exclusive, is actually good in most aspects, except for the performance. Keyboard controls work just fine. I've been playing with keyboard and mouse the whole time. You can rebind all of them, and it's got proper sensitivity options, etc., etc. There is some, what feels like mouse acceleration when you're aiming with ranged weapons and thrown weapons, when you get that sort of reticle and you're aiming, but it's not too bad. And it's easily combated by just moving your mouse a little slower, but it is annoying and I wish it wasn't there. That acceleration isn't felt in the menus or in the game's camera control at all, though. Driving, walking, fighting, everything feels very responsive and very good with the keyboard controls. You even have proper hotkeys for your inventory, using the number keys and things like that. So yeah. And also, the custom graphics settings are actually really good. There are a lot of them, and you can tweak them in a lot of different ways, including this option right here, which actually is the internal rendering resolution of the game, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, you've got level of detail, ambient occlusion, different types of anti-aliasing, a lot of good stuff. But the game doesn't run as well as it should, even with a lot of this stuff turned off. So that's mostly the end of what I'm going to reference in terms of the performance, but just keep an eye on that counter up there if you're interested. So we're going to just head into it now. So, it's time to break down Dead Rising 3. I'm going to not do the story mission that I'm on right now for this video because I don't want to spoil that, but I'll probably do a survivor mission just to have a little fun. So Dead Rising is a pretty venerated franchise, even though there's only a couple of them. There are, how many, 5 or 6? Because all the little extra bits. Anyway, Dead Rising 3 is the newest, of course, and it's a bit different. It's a bit grayer and browner than the others. It's not as colorful and as Japanese, but it actually has a lot of character still, in my opinion, and it's just as wacky, if not more so. So let's get into it. Here we go. Already my performance is not keeping up exactly, but it's getting there. So, welcome to Dead Rising. I'm in a garage right now, and you can get vehicles from the lot, which is interesting. You see these little marks down here? You can get that number, so I can choose 4 of those 4 vehicles to actually deploy from this. And there's also a weapons locker system, which works in the same way, that any weapon you've picked up before will be put in the locker, and you can then go to wherever those lockers are, which are usually your safe houses, and retrieve the weapons. But they also have a certain number of uses before they have to recharge for a few. So just doing a little combat here to show stuff off. I've got these beauties, which are of course a reference to the chainsaws that the crazy psycho clown used in the first Dead Rising. And the first thing you might notice is the game is actually not too bad looking. It's not incredible looking. Texture quality is a mixed bag, but for a third-person game, it's actually quite good. The effects are nice. Things like blood, of course, very important. And the zombie models. Holy crap, the zombie models. Look at them. Look at how many there are on screen at any given time. And look at how different they all look. You'll find some, I mean, you can cut, like that one's missing an arm. You can cut them in half and they'll go towards you with like one leg and one arm and still be trying to attack you and stuff like that. The actual quality and variety in the zombie models is one of the things that impresses me the most about this game, which might be a strange thing to say, but I don't know, I notice detail like that a lot, and I'm always very impressed by things of that nature. So the fact that there are so many sort of randomly mixed and matched zombie models is a huge deal to me, just because it's fun to see. Also, pile driver. So yeah, the whole skill moves and stuff are still in. You got your knee drop. You've got some combos and things to do while barehanded. Although fighting zombies barehanded isn't necessarily the best idea, but you can do a fairly good job. Yeah. So there we go. And the weapons are just as crazy, actually more so than they've ever been in this series. Combo weapons from Dead Rising 2, of course, make a return, which is what I'm using right now. These are actually meat cleavers combined with a chainsaw. It gives you these things. And the whole prestige point system is still in the game as well. You'll notice it's basically like experience, as it has been, but the leveling system is different in this game than the others. In the other games, when you level up, you get something given to you. In this one, however, when you level up, you get points that you spend yourself. So if we go to this menu, you'll see these. These are your attributes. You get different amounts of points on different level ups, and you can spend them to increase these stats. And each one has its own name and different bits of equip all books. Holy crap. Yeah, and bits of information. So yeah, I'm really wanting to get this next melee, but I'm going to need 4 points to actually get it. I'm going to put 1 into it right now, though. And then you've also got combo categories, all the different combo weapons, vehicles, and food. Unlocking one of these spends a point. I didn't actually mean to spend that there, but I can't get it back, I don't think. But anyway, unlocking these makes those particular items easier to make. So if I do this, I can actually use anything marked as a firearm to build those instead of what they specifically call for. Like the one on the very bottom left there, the ZAR, is a shotgun and an assault rifle, but if I equipped or purchased this, I could combine maybe a pistol and an assault rifle or something in theory and be able to make that stuff. You've got your skills list, of course, and these unlock as you get different attributes. You've got these sort of challenges, which give you big sums of points. And, of course, you got your books that you find. You can only equip one at a time. So, yeah. As far as the whole vehicle combination thing, that's new. And they're awesome. So I'm going to show you one right now. I'm going to show you one of the, not too powerful, but still fun ones, the turret rig. There we go. Aye. Alright, we're going to get in this sucker. And here we go. It's got this crazy cannon on top of it. And it can also do this. Yeah. So yeah, this is the turret rig. And this is the kind of silliness you can expect from this game. Vehicles are a lot more important in this game than they have ever been in the series because the world you are in, if you may have noticed from the map, is enormous. It is way bigger than the other two games. Main games in the series, rather. It's actually huge. You have multiple different safe houses, different garages, and all kinds of stuff to find. The side quests finding survivors and stuff are still in, and you are still on a time limit. However, the time limit is 6 days instead of the usual 3. And I believe that change was done because the game world is so much larger and there's so much more to do that they gave you a higher time limit to compensate for that. Now, some diehard fans of the series might not like that. There is, however, a nightmare mode that you can play in. Nightmare mode does lots of things that makes it more similar to the previous games. You still have a 6-day time limit, but your time is expended 4 times faster. The days are shorter and the nights are longer. Psycho boss fights are harder because they have more moves. They are more aggressive and hit much harder. They do a lot more damage, as well as being able to take more damage. And things like that. As you can see, the whole night makes the zombies very dangerous aspect is still in. Yes, very much so. But just look at the ridiculous number of zombies on screen at any given time. It's absolutely absurd, the numbers you can get up to. And I like that a lot. Now, you can notice the performance up there. It's stuttering a bit more than I would like, but, you know. Bad. Cannibalism, bad. Yeah. By the way, there we go. The Freedom Bear. Basically a sentry bear. I don't really understand what else you would want out of life, so we're gonna get that. And I'm gonna go up here to the Survivor just to show you a bit more gameplay. So the survivors come in 2 different flavors now. There are stranded survivors, which you'll meet incidentally, and you have to clear zombies in the area around them, and they will then leave. Then there are normal survivors, which have quests for you. Sometimes they will join your team afterwards, and unlike in the previous games, you can still do things like give them food so they'll heal themselves and hand them a weapon to use, but unlike the previous games, they'll stay with you, even when you get to a safe house. And you actually choose, using a board in each safe house, a bulletin board, which ones you want with you, and you can get upgrades to actually increase the number of survivors you can recruit at any given time. So let's talk to this guy.
Hell is going on here? Oh my gosh, you're just in time. They're gonna die if I don't give them some food. You're feeding them? Give them a chance and they'll rip you to pieces. They're hungry. And they're my family. I mean, what if they find a cure when this is over? I can't just leave them.
Right.
It's great that you still got hope and you love your family, but is this really helping? What else am I supposed to do?
I'm not sure what's
Let
happening.
them die?
It's a little late for that, my friend.
They need fresh meat, but only a little. Oh my God.
So I have to bring him meat. Well. Okay. I mean, I'm sure I can manage that. So, a lot of the aspects of the Dead Rising games are still intact here. Your limited inventory, your makeshift weapons, all kinds of silliness everywhere. The large factor in just a wholesale destruction of zombies with any kind of thing you can get your hands on has always been a part of this series and is very much alive, I can promise you that. So, the decisions have had a couple of mixed opinions here and there, needless to say. Some people liking some of the changes they made and other people not so much. Now, objectively speaking, the game is very competent and very, very good at what it actually does. Impressively so, I might add. That's locked. There are some locked places you have to complete stuff for to get to. But I do understand that not everyone is a fan of everything they've changed. So, it's less wacky looking, but it's not a less wacky game. There's still all kinds of wackiness in it. I mean, I was dual-wielding chainsaws with meat cleavers attached to them, driving a car with blades on the side of it. That's very Dead Rising. But graphically, even though it's fairly good looking, it is not perhaps as crazy and colorful as the others. And what I can really say, just looking at the whole picture, is that the game has lost a little bit of its character. In general, the Dead Rising series has had a lot of character. And the game, yes, this iteration has lost some of that. But what I'd also like to say is that in return, it has gained a little bit of openness and more size, and the scale is more impressive this time around. Just this large open world to move around in, lots of stuff to find and do, huge amounts of exploration is rewarded. And that's less so in the other games. So it's really a question of whether or not you want that. Isn't there a steakhouse around here somewhere? I'm trying to remember where I can find some meat. But yeah, so if you like that fact, then you're gonna probably enjoy this game a lot. But if you don't like everything they did, they did change the game up some. There's no question about that. They really did. And it's not objectively better in every way for the things they've changed. I like it, but not everyone will. So, whether or not you'll actually enjoy the game comes down to what kind of gameplay you're looking for. The really heavy, weighty, satisfying movement and combat is still in the game. Large numbers of zombies to slaughter, yes, still in the game, more so than ever. Huge amounts of variety in the things you can get, the missions you have are still in the game, but it's less tense of an experience. Now, why would that be? You have a longer time limit, and you're quite a powerful person, yeah? Nick I actually like him as a character. He's not Frank West. He's more likable than Frank West, but a lot of the reason that people actually enjoyed Frank so much is because he wasn't that likable of character, which is understandable. But what you're going to find, I think, with this is it's hugely, hugely different in general theme than what you may be used to. So, it's interesting. The dichotomy is actually displayed really, really well. Oh god, I didn't want to do that. In the tragic endings, as they're called, which are these little things, they're collectibles you can find that reward you with some experience when you find them. And those play up the dichotomy of the game perfectly, because it plays really sad music when you inspect one. Nick will say something like, "Oh god, that's so horrible." And then, after all that, in the top left of the screen, a really awful, super lame pun about how they died will be displayed. Like, that's the perfect way to talk about the dichotomy of the game. It's silly, but serious. Yeah, like, there was one with these two people dead in a shipping crate. It was horrible. They were just cuddled up in this crate all alone, rotted, and dead. And Nick was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe what I'm seeing." And then in the top left of the screen it said, "To survive, you have to think outside the box." And I was like, "Oh god, seriously?" So yeah, that's the game in a nutshell right there. So it's got more serious edges and overtones than the previous Dead Rising games, but it's still got a core of just pure silly. Pure enjoyable silly. So yeah, I'm gonna try and find some meat. Oh god. But even though not every change was for the better, for super diehard fans of the series, a lot of the changes are actually... I don't know why I'm wearing this now, but a lot of the changes are actually not objectively bad either. This is one of those your mileage may vary games. It's the kind of game that could get a really bad review from one site and a really good one from another, and they all have the same reasons why. Will that hunk of meat actually work? Yeah, so the kind of things that one... I should probably bring real meat, huh? The kind of things that one outlet will actually hate, another one will love. And that's, again, the game in a nutshell. It's very, very... It's easy to question, I guess, you know? There's a lot of stuff here that some people will like and some people won't. Now, I don't know what kind of, like, what meat they want. I've got to admit, I'm not sure about the type of meat I should be bringing to him. I'm thinking like a steak or something. I don't know if the hunks of meat will work. Maybe I should just try it. Hey, why don't you drop me an arm or something? Thank you. But yeah, overall with all of the things that I could see people disliking are a ton of things that really impress me. The huge number of zombies on screen, the fairly good looking overall game in general is something. It looks good. It's not amazing looking, but it looks good. The psycho fights are still very fun and very memorable. They haven't like phoned those in or anything. I just recently did the Darlene one, which was horrifying. The crazy Hilda one in that cool office with all the destructible walls and stuff was fun. The really creepy doctor who is absolutely insane and makes you hallucinate through the whole boss fight. There's a ton of them and they're really cool. Oh god, those football zombies are bad news. So yeah, the psycho boss fights are just as memorable as they've ever been, in my opinion. And the actual characters in the game are pretty good. There are characters in this game that I genuinely do care about and want to see what happens with them, including the main character. That's important because that has been in the series. You know, the series has always had memorable characters. Whether they were super likable, it doesn't matter. They were memorable and you cared about them. And this game does have that, for sure. So this doesn't work. This isn't what you want. Here. Huh. Alright, so I gotta have some actual meat then, like a steak or, I don't know, something like that. Oh! Pushy bear. Indeed. Yeah, you'll find those blueprints all over the place to get, to make new combo weapons, combo vehicles, and super combo weapons, which are basically what happen when you combine multiple combo weapons together, or combine combo weapons with more normal stuff to sort of double combo them up and things like that. Like, this thing. Yeah. This thing is a Grim Reaper, which is a scythe and a katana, that has then been combined with a gas tank to make a flaming Grim Reaper, which is absurdly powerful. And really awesome, very fun to use. Overall, though, now that I've broken this down for you, tee-hee, I'd like for everyone to form their own opinions on it, because it is a game that has gotten very mixed impressions from a lot of people. It's the same things that some might like, others may dislike, and you've really just got to watch a lot of videos on this, read some reviews, watch other people's videos, and come up with your own opinion. You know, a lot of, I usually don't watch other people's videos of a game I'm going to do before I do mine, so that my opinions are not colored. But I actually watched Total Biscuit's review on this, or well, he doesn't do reviews, but his WTF is on this, and it got me to buy it, even though he didn't like a lot of the things about it. He presented his opinions in such a way that I understood whether or not I would like those same things, and that's what I'm hoping to do here. I'm hoping to give you a good impression of what the game really is. There's Bite the Bull. That's like that steak shop I'm going for. So yeah, the combat is actually the best it's been. The gunplay is more satisfying because of the way that the physics interactions work with zombies flying everywhere and them coming apart in really satisfying ways. The sound assets even of guns are fairly good. And of course, with the weighty combat, the game feels good. It feels great to play. Ham. Surely a ham will work. Surely. Alright, Jason. But yeah, the whole limited time quests, survivor missions, and side quests are still in the game. And the limited side survivor fights that you don't have to do but will help you get more cool stuff are still in the game. As obviously you can see, there's an adult store I have to go to because there is a psycho fight in one that I should apparently take part in. But yeah, so the whole the side quests are a bit different though. The survivors, basically the game has had a bit of RPG injected into it, with a level up system that involves you actually choosing stats and things like that. And the survivors giving, oh my god, what are essentially fetch quests, more or less. Holy crap, there are so many zombies back there. Look at that crowd. Wow. I'm sorry, but it's hard not to be impressed and have fun mowing through crowds of this size with various ridiculously combined weapons. But yeah. Boom! Yeah, so the survivors do send you on what are kind of like fetch quests, although some of them are interesting. Not all of them are top-notch. Like, I mean, this one I basically just had to go across the city to grab a ham for this guy. Not the most exciting thing ever, but that's a bit of a bone of contention. Whether you're okay with that, your mileage may vary. But like I said, that's the case with a lot of this game. There we go, family-style dining completed. Alright. Not gonna do any more missions. Don't want to spoil too much for people. But yeah, I'm impressed by the size of the world. There's a lot to see, and what I was worried about, and I think what a lot of other people were worried about, was when they said, we're going to make the world bigger. This world is going to be the biggest in the series. What a lot of us were thinking was, that means it's going to be more spread out. It's going to be more sparse, isn't it? By bigger, you just mean you're going to take the current Dead Rising worlds and stretch them out, so there's going to be just dead space in the middle, no pun intended. But they haven't done that. The world is interesting from pole to pole. There are just a ton of stores to go into to discover new things. There are secrets everywhere. There are these challenges that get you a ton of points. There are interesting locales, and they're so far, and I've been to all 4 of the districts of the city, I haven't found a single sort of dead zone that feels like, why is this even here? Like, I'm just driving through this doing nothing important. Where's the interesting bits? I haven't actually found any places like that yet. There are even some cool underground places, like these weird sewers. There's a graveyard, there's a church with a mortuary, or then a morgue, which by the way has Otis in it. There's all kinds of stuff like that, and the locations are actually fun. I've got to say. Oh my god! I like that. The variety in locales, from crazy shops to all weird underground warehouses and, you know, just all kinds of places. And even while driving on the freeways and stuff like that, it doesn't feel empty. There are always crowds of zombies everywhere, always collectibles on the edges, secrets to find, and I approve. I approve very heavily of the way they've done all that. So yeah, I'm having a ton of fun with this game, just a huge amount. And although I understand a lot of reasons why some people didn't like it as much as previous iterations, I really enjoy it. And that's coming from someone who actually really loved the first 2 that I played Dead Rising games. I played the first one on release, and I loved the second one. But I can't really I can't pretend I'm not enjoying this. I am. It's a really fun experience. It's more action-oriented than they have been previously, but that's down to the fact that the world is a lot larger, and there are just many more zombies at any given time. Is it an easier game? I would argue that it is an easier game, but the time limit is still there, and Nightmare Mode, if you're looking for more of the pure Dead Rising experience, Nightmare Mode is the way to play this game. Just say that right off the bat. The game does, of course, still support the whole idea that you're going to be playing it multiple times through. Even in normal mode, you can restart from the beginning of a chapter if you want to, and sort of do things over, but keep your items and your experience and levels and things like that. I mean, that's always been what the essence of Dead Rising was to a lot of people, was you can't do everything the first time around. In this game, I feel like on normal mode, you actually kind of can, but it still warrants playing it through multiple times, and the Nightmare mode does say, you know, you need to play this very optimally to get everything done in the right amount of time. And you may have to do this a couple of tries worth of play to actually get through it all. So yeah, it's still a Dead Rising game, it's still a very good Dead Rising game, but it's different. Not everyone likes the changes they've made. Hopefully this video has let you see whether or not you would. Mechanically, it's very, very solid. The performance is a sticking point for a lot of people, as it should be, because that's a huge issue that needs to be resolved. But other than those things, the issues of performance and some of the changes they've made that might not appeal to the more hardcore Dead Rising fans, it's a solid experience with a lot to offer, a lot of variety, memorable characters, and fun missions. So that's Dead Rising 3 Apocalypse Edition broken down for you. It is $50 on Steam right now. It comes with all of the DLC for Dead Rising 3 that was on Xbox One, the 4 main packs, that is, with the extra missions and characters and things like that. It comes with those for free. And that's it, really. That's the game. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope this gives people a good impression of whether they like it or not. Even if they don't agree with my opinions, I hope I've presented them well enough. Any sort of feedback on this format, I'm always willing to take into consideration. Always. So yeah, Dead Rising 3 Apocalypse Edition, everyone. I'll link you in the description to the Steam store page, so that if you want to check it out, you of course can. Oh my god. That was ugly. Kind of cool, though. And if this is what you're looking for, I highly recommend you check it out, because it's a lot of fun to play. The performance needs to be improved, but other than that, it's a hell of a lot of fun. It is a zombie romp, and it still has the very unique nature of Dead Rising mostly intact. Also, one other thing I have to say is that the hordes act really cool. The hordes of zombies are actually very zombie movie-esque. So I could stand on top of this car, and I'll get them, you know, hoarding around the car, reaching up at me, trying to get a hold of me and stuff like that. That's kind of awesome. I mean, you gotta admit, that's pretty freaking cool. So yeah, it's a very impressive experience in my opinion. The port's been done quite well, save for the fact that the performance needs serious attention. So if that's a big bugbear for you, and I should say that it should be, then I totally understand why you'd want to wait a bit on this. And hope that Capcom maybe patches it, and then the NVIDIA and AMD driver releases help, and things like that. So yeah, there you go folks. Thank you very much for watching. That has been Dead Rising 3 broken down. I hope I've done it justice. I'll see you guys next time.